Renee, the NBA is back already. It feels like they just left it. We're already... Media Day is happening as we speak. And because Media Days have started, the number one topic of discussion isn't who can win the finals, but who's going to show up to their team facilities due to New York City's guidelines regarding premises, indoor premises and indoor events that have large amounts of people. Kyrie Irving's decision to not be vaccinated makes his ability to appear at the Nets facility and games complicated. There's other players who are reported not to be vaccinated, such as Andrew Wiggins, who's been kind of outspoken about it. He recently lost his appeal for a religious exemption. And the Orlando Magic's Jonathan Isaac, similar situation. Kyle Kuzma recently said that it's a personal decision when asked if he's vaccinated. Bradley Beal made some comments which would lead one to believe that he's not vaccinated. All of this is to say, how do we think teams are going to handle these situations? Let's start with the big one. Let's start with the Nets and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, so I want to start out by saying, I feel like it's the easiest thing to do to everybody just jump on Kyrie and make him a punching bag because he's the easiest punching bag we have. But that's why in our pre-pro meeting, I asked, I'm like, yo, who are all the other players that are not vaccinated? Because we just keep hearing the same name, Kyrie Irving, Andrew Wiggins, whenever he asked for a religious exemption, which the NBA shut that down quick, fast, and in a hurry. But here's my thing on the whole thing. As we know, getting a vaccine helps not just you, but helps the people around you. I don't know what to tell people that don't believe that. It's a fact. It's a scientific fact. Whether or not you believe that scientific fact, that, again, that's your decision, but that doesn't change the truth. However, I would like to say that if we have this large amount of players that are vaccinated, I understand focusing on the ones... Over 85% of the league. Yeah, over 85% of the league is vaccinated. If we have that large of amount vaccinated, well, yeah, that 15%, it's tough. We wish they were. But Jason, like you said, it's like 85%, if 85% of America was vaccinated, then we would be really happy right now. We'd be really happy. 99% of the WNBA is vaccinated. Like 99% of the WNBA is vaccinated. And we are sitting pretty, but that doesn't mean that people haven't still got COVID. Devin Booker has COVID right now, So, and I'm pretty sure using context clues, it sounds like he's vaccinated because he was like, when he announced it, streaming, which is so funny. I love where we are in 2021. Devin Booker announced while he was streaming, playing video games, that he had the vid.
I got the vid, man. I'm not going to tell you guys if I have the vaccine or not, but you can still get COVID with the vaccine. For anybody that's saying that. Educate yourself.
Even if he is, yes, you can still get it, but yeah, you'll be all right looking like him playing video games, even with the symptoms.
Yeah, a couple of things. First of all, of course, you can get it still if you're vaccinated. I recently tested positive for COVID despite being vaccinated. The great thing about it was I had essentially no symptoms except I was very, very tired. People who use the fact that breakthrough infections are possible as an argument against the vaccine, it's like saying, you still get in a car crash. You can still get in a car crash when you wear your seatbelt. Yeah, of course. It's but you survive the car crash. Which is the entire point. Vis-a-vis Kyrie, I look at it several different ways. One, 85% is a huge number. I hopefully there is something that we can learn from the NBA as a country about how they got to that high number. Similarly, hopefully there is something the NBA can learn from the WNBA about how they got to 99%, which is essentially 100%. I think that Kyrie should be criticized, and I will criticize him. That you can't do this. I get it. I don't know that anything will change his mind. Similarly, I don't know whether anything will change Wiggins or Jonathan Isaac's mind. But it's absolutely fair to criticize him. But I'll say this: I've seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's bullshit that we live in a society where people care what celebrities think and say, what their opinions are." I part of me agrees with that, even though that is a reality. People do care. Kids do care. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's the case. They do care. above and beyond that, Lo, we live like in a world in which misinformation about the vaccine, about everything, blasts out through Facebook, through Instagram, through all these social media channels all the time that many, many people are plugged into, more people than listen to Kyrie Irving, I guarantee you. And we can't do anything about that. As we criticize these players who are a small minority of the NBA population, we should recognize that we're in the midst of a misinformation crisis. Like I'm not trying to.
I mean, that's a big point, though. That is a big point.
I'm not trying to take the responsibility for being vaccinated off of Kyrie. At the same time, like, there are large and powerful forces at work in our society through which people can easily spread misinformation about the CDC, about Fauci, about the vaccine, about what it does, about microchips, about all these different conspiracy theories. And we're completely incapable and unwilling to come into conflict with those things or to try and curb those things at all. And I think it's very easy to then pile on to these individuals who, again, should be criticized because it feels like, okay, maybe these are the people who we can get to toe the line.
That's what I was going to say. Look, there's that 15% in the NBA led by Kyrie. And I only say led by Kyrie because you're always led by who your superstar is, who's the most visible. It doesn't matter what's going on in that group of whoever, 15%. The most famous person in that group is who's the stories are going to be written about, who is going to be the headliner. So that's a fact. To that point, Hollywood is ran on stars. Sports is ran on the stars. That's just how it works. This is how I feel about it. If Kyrie and the other 15% feel so strongly about not getting a vaccine, by all means, don't do it. And by all means, don't show up. And by all means, take all the consequences that come with that, whether it's a dock and pay, whether it's whatever. Because here's my thing. You can have your own choice. You can make your own decisions. You can have your own privacy. But when I sign my HOA to live in this condo, or when you sign a contract to play in the NBA, you have to abide by the rules of the organization, of the condo, of whatever company that you're involved in, the same way that New York can say, hey, if you want to live here and work here, you have to be vaccinated to do it. Those are the rules. So that's one thing. If you don't like the rules, then, to that point, you have to make a decision on your own. So if you're going to be slated to make $33 million this year, like Kyrie Irving is, well, are you comfortable with making $16 million then to not play in your home games, which is half of your home games will be like 41 games? If Kyrie is okay with that, then we got to be okay with that. That's all the way I feel about it. Like, if Kyrie and them are like, again, this is a problem. This is a health conscious problem. I'm very aware that this is a problem because this is a we thing, not a me thing. But if these players are literally saying, no, I'm not going to do it, and no, I'm not going to work and get my check, then they have to, they're going to remove themselves pretty much.
The other thing is, the players got to understand too, as they say that, respect my privacy, this is personal. They understand why people are emotional about this. Over 600,000 people in this country have died. That's surely an undercount, by the way. It's, we're nearing into 750,000 people. That's a huge amount of tragedy. And so people feel very, very strongly about this. That includes the things that Karl-Anthony Towns has gone through with losing his mom, losing numerous members of his direct family. So SI had an article by Emma Baccalieri about how the WNBA achieved their number. And here's a quote from it. The WNBA landed on a layered approach. They would set up a series of panels with researchers and experts, 3 sessions on Zoom, held at different times so that every player would be able to easily access at least one, no matter what time zone they were in. But first, they would canvass players to learn which concerns to focus on, talk to the invited experts about what kind of environment they wanted to cultivate, open and participatory with plenty of space for questions, no matter how silly or small they might seem. It seems like this is probably taking place on a team-by-team basis. The NBA's doesn't really have a strong or any kind of vaccine mandate other than they're going to abide by state and city laws. That said, I don't expect Kyrie Irving to listen to Takeline or listen to anybody on Twitter or read any blog or listen to any podcast. Jonathan Isaac, same. Kyle Kuzma, same. But maybe they'll listen to Kat, maybe they might listen to him, not to put more responsibility on his plate. Maybe they'll listen to somebody with actual experience in this field or experience with the effects of COVID-19 that can speak one-to-one about why this is important. All of which is to say, there is probably something that the NBA can learn from the WNBA's approach to this that can help close the gap here.
I love that. And to that point, I'm going to take that second to shout out the WNBA, Terri Jackson, who leads our WNBPA, which is our Players Association. Everybody had questions, especially think about the time when the WNBA was trying to get the players on board with the vaccine. This is before it was even released to the public. This is before people saw that it was going to be okay. This was when all the memes was happening on Twitter. Like, what if you grew an extra ear? Like, you know, like there was all kinds of stuff happening on social media about what's going to happen when we all take this vaccine, because people felt like the vaccine was created quickly and that, you know, people had questions basically. But to that point, the WNBPA went about things in a very systematic way that was dope. It was come when you feel comfortable. And I think that matters because no one likes to be forced into anything. And especially people that have a lot of money. You're not going to tell people that are rich or people that are used to doing things their way how to do things. I don't care who you are. Like, so it was a very come as you are. And then it was educational. It wasn't even this is what you should do. It was, this doctor said this doctor said that, and this doctor said this. So take from it what you want and come back next week. We might have some more information for you. And I mean, I sat in on some of those meetings and I was very comfortable with what I heard. You know, like I didn't have to make a decision overnight. Now I think that it's getting difficult too, because media day's here and it's like everything has to happen quick. But to that point, I would just like to say a lot of the sports league could take from what the WNBA does in all aspects, because even last year before the wobble season, the WNBA had already put together a group that would lead the social justice movements. Yeah. You know, our season was dedicated to social justice and everybody was like, wow, the WNBA is moving so solidified. Everything's on point. The shirts, the messaging, everything. And it was like, yeah, we came into the bubble ready. And then we saw the NBA created their group that was going to run things as far as social justice and making sure things happen. So I would just like to say, follow women, follow the women's lead, because it's not, these are educated. I always like to say WNBA players have went to school for 4 years, most of them graduated degrees. This is an educated league, the WNBA, and the people around it are educated. But to that point, I'll just say, when it comes to all the things going on with the NBA players, we're talking about 15%, and I agree with you. You know, I played in Minnesota Wildcat and then we're there. So to me, that would be enough. Knowing that I have, we call it knowing that I have a brother in the brotherhood and we call it a sisterhood, the 144, knowing that I've seen it affect somebody firsthand and seen what it can do to somebody. Yeah, I would think that that would be enough. But Kyrie said, look, I don't want to create any more drama. That's not what I'm here for. I'm going to continue to inspire and lead in the right way. Don't say I never did anything for y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that. So he's kind of, I know Kyrie's probably getting frustrated because he probably feels like he's always attacked. And again, whether it's deserved or not, that's
just
up
what
for
it
debate.
is. Yeah,
it is what it is. But I do understand that. Like, I would just say control your controllables. That's what we say in sports. Like, you know, Kevin Durant was like, I don't expect it to be an issue. Harden was like, obviously Kyrie is a big part of what we're trying to do, but you just have to control your controllables in sports. And this 15% that doesn't want to get a vaccine, to me, it's like, all right, next. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just how I am. It's like, we can't control it.
To the point of like outreach, I would hope that, you know, LaMarcus Aldridge, who is on the Nets and will return with the Nets, who's recently was quoted as saying like he feels like he has something to prove. Like he had open heart surgery, you know, in 10 years ago. Like that is a comorbidity. I would hope that there is some kind of outreach that's like, here's how this could affect LaMarcus if he gets it, even in the weakened state, even in having the vaccine and having a weaker version of the disease, here's what could possibly happen. I hope conversations like that are happening. But to your point about like the checks, I think at a certain point, this plays into the kind of player empowerment conversations. I think it'll be interesting to see what decisions are made. And at the end of the day, my suspicion is if Jonathan Isaacs, Wiggins, Kyrie, if they end up getting the vaccine and coming in and playing all the games, that will be because they couldn't miss the check. At a certain level, if you can afford to miss the game check, decisions are going to be made that are very, very different than what the team expected. So I think that will obviously play a huge role.
Even last year, think about a James Harden, Jason, where no one could figure out why would he not take that Houston deal, all of that money on the table and all of this. And I know that there was some more things involved in the James Harden situation, but the point I'm trying to make is James Harden wasn't worried nothing about that money they were offering. And that money did not move James Harden in no type of way to stay in Houston. As we see now, James Harden is in the Brooklyn with the Nets. So I think a lot of people have a hard problem with that. But when you have financial freedom is what they talk about. The freedom part is the freedom to make any decision. It could be a good decision, bad decision, whatever decision, but it's your decision. And so I think we're starting to see that now with players. They have financial freedom, meaning 16 million. I know for me, and I'm not going to speak for you, Jason, but when I hear 16 million, I'm getting the shot. I don't care what's going on. I'm getting the shot. Stop playing. I'm getting it. But for Kyrie and them, they're talking to the league and they're trying to figure things out. They may have to lose 16, 17 million, and they may be fine with that because Kyrie might be able to just release 4 new pairs of shoes. He has a way to still make money. That money isn't controlling them, basically. So, yeah, the decisions are going to look different than our logic because they have a different logic. All right, Jason, so we are one stage closer to the WNBA Finals as we head into the semifinal stage this week. Now, we know we had some good games over the weekend as Chicago Sky. Oh, amazing. Chicago Sky took down the Lynx. The Mercury beat the defending champs, the Seattle Storm, which we'll talk more about because the chance for Sue Bird, who might, and I say might, because you're not hearing it here first, but speculating, she might have played her last game. I'm not trying to retire her, but it felt like that was happening. She won't say. She said that she wants to take it game to year to year, and she's going to take some time to make the best decision that's best for her. But what do we think? How are we feeling? Was this the last game that the legend plays in the WNBA?
Well, first of all, let me just say that after that game, I'm happy that the Liberty were eliminated. I'm happy that happened. I'm glad that we got.
Why, Jason? Why?
I'm happy that we got the Taurasi Sue Bird jersey exchange. I'm happy. I'm legitimately listen, it was a great learning experience for the Liberty. I watched that team. Listen, I'm dumb, but I watched that squad and I'm like, why don't they just run the Sabrina Howard pick and roll literally every time? It seems like no one can stop that, so just do it all the time. That said, I'm glad that the better team won. And we got to see Sue Bird against Diana Taurasi. It feels better when the team that beat you then goes on to move forward. That's all I'll say. It would have sucked if they lost.
Listen, Jason, you just articulated my whole feelings for last season. We lost to the Bucks. I thought we were on a roll. I really felt like we could have went to the finals and maybe even won, and people thought that was crazy. But now look, because the Bucks won, and that's the team that beat us. When I say us, I'm talking about the Atlanta Hawks. So the Bucks beat the Hawks, and then they went on to beat everybody else and won a championship. So yes, I feel more comfortable that we lost to the champs. And to that point, I think, I'm glad you as a New Yorker fan can realize the moment because, if that was Birdie's last game, to be able to play against Dinah Taurasi, who we know, if y'all don't know, first of all, I bleed blue right beside me. Everything is UConn over here. So those are 2 UConn greats who actually play together. So I just think the story wrote itself, and I'm glad that you were selfless. And, Birdie made, some statements post-game. She said, through my career, in a lucky way, my position I play it allows for longevity. I never really relied on my physical quickness or my speed or size, obviously, and she's hilarious. And so as long as I continue to add to my game from a mental perspective, I was always going to be able to stay on the floor. Assuming, again, the physical part stayed with me as well. So what she was basically saying, I think, kind of the Tom Brady-esque type of point to these players where their physical attributes are not what makes them the players they are. And yes, Tom Brady still has a strong arm, and we know that. But what makes these players that play into the later ages than we see athletes play? Because next month, Sue Bird turns 41, as we know. And so we know Tom Brady. He said he wants to go 4 or 5 more years. What is it that allows these players to have long careers, have that longevity? She kind of hit on it. If you don't rely on your quickness or your speed, which a lot of athletes do, your athletic ability is based on athletics. Those players that can still be extremely effective, highly successful, not depending on those things, yeah, you could play for as long as you want, as long as your body upholds to a certain extent. And that's kind of what she got at. So, you know.
Hey, whether it's Kareem, Candace Parker, LeBron, Sue Bird, like it's always... You just got to be a high IQ player. Tom Brady, like that's bottom line. If you are a genius at what you do, the physical will follow that for sure. And
I'm just saying that quote was from our 2020 playoff run. But as we know, 1 year difference doesn't change much of anything. What she's saying is still the same. If you don't rely on quickness, if you don't rely on speed or athleticism per se for your game, then you do have a chance to have a long career in sports if you're that caliber of player. So yeah, that was big. And you know, something else that happened over the playoffs was the Lynx in the Sky played. And it's interesting because there's so many storylines in sports, as we know. You know, Sylvia Fowles and the Lynx are a dynasty that's trying to figure it out. You know, since Maya Moore left, it's been difficult. They had Maya Moore leave, Lindsay Whalen retired. There's been a lot of movement. Can they get back to that championship form? So they were in the playoffs, but, you know, got knocked out. Chicago Sky is the storyline that I think a lot of people are talking about. Candace Parker coming back to Chicago, almost LeBron-esque in a sense of, I want to win a championship for my city. And you should see, I like something that stood out to me was that Candace Parker has beat me for a championship. So I know that Candace Parker has been to the furthest you can get, but her excitement right now with winning in single game eliminations, making it to the semifinals, which, like I said, we know she's went to the finals and won. You can see that there's this new energy because she is different. When you go to a different team, it doesn't matter if you've won 4 championships before. It's different when you go to a new team, your home city. So I really am enjoying watching Candace Parker and the excitement she has for building the Chicago Sky up to one of those like dynasty powerhouse teams.
They're a fun team because they're so balanced and they can kill you in different ways. Like they just demolished the Lynx inside on the glass and scoring inside.
Yeah,
and
it was tough.
They are very, very good. They're very good. And Courtney Vandersloot was super fun. Man, I'm still having nightmares about fucking Sophie Cunningham coming off the bench and just.
Oh Lord, Sophie been cooking, but that's what I'm saying. So another thing, we've already talked about it, but we have finally, now that we're going to the semifinals, we've reached the series rounds where it's the best of. It's not single game. So I know that that's a lot of fans were upset that a number 3 team or a number 4 team, a la Seattle Storm, who's played great all season, can get knocked out in a single game elimination. So the good news is we've moved on now and advanced to the semifinals, which has a series round. So that'll be something exciting to look forward to this week.
Predictions? Any predictions?
Predictions. I would say I don't see anyone beating Connecticut Sun. So my prediction is that the Connecticut Sun are on pace to have a championship caliber run. So if that, like, pretty much if this Connecticut Sun don't win the championship, I would be surprised, because if you look at it, 4 players on the Connecticut Sun were on the all defensive teams. So 4 of the 10 players selected on first team and second team all defense were Connecticut Sun players. The reason I say that is their defense is on point, which in playoff scenarios, that's why people say defense wins championship, offense wins games. That cliche you hear, it really does matter in the playoffs. So the fact that they have 4 of the 10 players on the all defensive team, that matters. And then they have who will be probably named the most valuable player in the WNBA. Jonquel Jones plays for the Connecticut Sun. Yeah, it's looking like it's Connecticut Sun year. So that would be my predictions. I just don't see anybody being able to, in a series, outplay the Connecticut Sun and how they played.
I think they went on like a like a 14-game winning streak where they were just absolutely molly-whopping every opponent.
Listen, they lost the bag. The Commissioner's Cup, they played Seattle. They played Seattle in the Commissioner's Cup. They got beat really bad, and I think they got mad, and they didn't lose a game for, like, to your point, like 14 games. They like ran off a 14-game win streak. They only lost one game at home all season. So, like I said, it's just, like, if they do get beat, I will be shocked.
Renee, the U.S. had a dominating performance this weekend at the Ryder Cup, spanking Europe 19-9, a historic victory. But to get a real understanding of what this performance meant in the history of the Ryder Cup and some Draco Malfoy news, I spoke with my mom on Sunday. P.S. She accurately predicted the final U.S. score at the morning
Concepcion!
The morning of the final round. Here's our conversation about the Ryder Cup. Enjoy. Okay, I'm here with my mom. In the wake of the USA's domination of the 2021 Ryder Cup, 19-9. It's the worst loss in European golf history, in the history of the Ryder Cup. Mom, what are your takeaways? What are your takes from the 2021 Ryder Cup?
Hooray! The U.S. finally won after 2016. I think that's the last one they won, 2016, in Minnesota. Okay, my take, like I told you, this is the American team, a younger team.
Yeah.
And the European are old, so this is a hard a golf course. So the U.S. has this energy, and they are friends for such a long time, like Sander and Patrick, Dustin and Brooke practice golf all the time. And then Jordan and Thomas are friends from junior golf, So I think that whole atmosphere, okay, is so good. And I think we have to thank Phil Mickelson, because when they lost big, they were actually leading and they lost.
2014, I think.
Yeah, and he said something about the captain and the leadership of the Ryder Cup. Okay, that it has to change. And then in 6 months they form a task force. And now I think they call it not a task force, Ryder Cup task force. They call it PGA of America Ryder Cup Committee, which is, I think, Phil is one of the committee, and David Love and Tiger Woods. And I think used to be Ricky Fowler was there, but I don't know if now. But those are on the committee. So they made a decision who is going to be the next captain, the co-captain, and who's going to be the pick. And I think they talk to each other all the time, okay, and not like before Ryder Cups, okay, that these are all professional, and the captain will tell them, okay, this, and show them pictures. You don't have to tell them what to do. They know what to do. They're professional.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it didn't work before. Okay, well, European is really the Ryder Cup is like they're enjoying what they're doing, and there's that common that they are friends, even though they're not friends. Okay, so they forget that they are enemy when they're singly playing.
Yeah,
and I think the ego of the old Ryder Cup, and like. Could you imagine telling Phil and Tiger, you have to do this and all these things? It doesn't work. And I think that's why they're not successful. With this one, it's completely different. Okay. And like Steve Sticker was saying, he doesn't tell them what to do. And I believe with the President Cup too, Thomas and everything, they said Tiger doesn't tell them what to do. If they make a mistake, he doesn't say anything. But they can ask them question what to do.
Yeah.
And supposedly Tiger is very good in comparing and partnering people. He looks at the whole thing, how this one works, how this one is a good iron, this one is a long iron. He knows how to partner them.
I see.
That's why they see Steve Sticker mentioning it, that even though Tiger is not there, Tiger is on the phone all the time with them. So supposedly, that's what I read. He's very meticulous, and he knows how to partner people.
Wow. And even the rival, the Brooks and DeChambeau, even that rival, they hugged. They hugged after the win.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly media making it too much, but really, I mean, they were changing words and text before, you know what I mean? But I think, with this one that they won, okay, that this is a big thing for them, so they're friends. You never know what's after a couple of months if they're going to be friends, you know what I mean? But at least they hugged, and congratulate each other, you know what I mean? So that was good, that was really, really good. You know what I mean?
Now I want to read some of your texts back to you. So you did say, you texted me, Whistling Straight is very hard, narrow, hilly, tall grasses, and windy. The old one is going to get tired, you said about the Europeans.
Yes, it's true.
And then you really went hard at Sergio Garcia. You said here, did you see Sergio when Koepka was listening to the rule official discussing his ball? That bullshit, selfish fucking guy. Spin his drink and laugh. What an asshole. I hate Sergio so much.
It's true. You don't do that, okay? Okay, Brooke is, has a legal to complain that there is a pipe sticking out in front of his ball, but you don't because the official doesn't agree to book it, you laugh and spit your drinks. I mean, what a child is. I mean, he should be completely banned playing golf. Okay, pro golfer have discussed about this in 2019. Okay, that he should be completely banned. It's enough. He destroyed a couple of greens at Dubai. Okay, he spit on, I forgot where was it? He spit on a cup.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, that's horrible. And there's somebody who's going to play, okay, after him. And they have a video of that, of spitting. And then at UK, he destroyed, okay, a tee box or a bunker, okay, and he did that to a WGC. He did the same thing. And this is not, he's not doing it once, twice, okay. You just don't disqualify. They disqualify him in Dubai. As like professionals said, no, enough. You ban him. A lot of professional golfer wants to ban him. He's a spoiled brat. He doesn't. He's no sportsmanship. He's a spoiled brat, and that's why I'm so surprised he got that Jack Nicholson award, Ryder Cup award. What? For Ryder Cup, this is it. He can be spoiled brat because it's the only in the Ryder Cup and President Cup that you can cheer somebody if they miss a cup. Okay, a ball. Okay, and and I think there was also a while ago when they said Sergio would clap when on a competition would clap when his competitor will miss a shot. That's horrible. You don't do that.
Wow.
He should really ban. He should be banned.
What happened with my good friend Tom Felton of Harry Potter fame, Draco Malfoy? Yeah, he passed out. So he lives here in Venice, California. Yeah. He's out in Venice all the time. I know people have just seen him just hanging out like on the beach in different places. So what happened? He just he just fainted.
He fainted, and they don't know why. Even after now, I was looking at it, why. He doesn't say, he said, thank you for, people telling me how am I, but he doesn't say what's wrong with him.
So he fainted. Well, I wish him the best, and I hope that he's fine. But that was scary.
Too.
That was scary.
Yeah. That was scary.
Yeah, it was. So what else?
They have to carry him.
Okay, so let me just go through your takes that you sent me. I'm just going to go down it. Here's your takes. Number 1, Xander, one of the best iron players, solid, very consistent. Rory has iron problems.
Yeah. but not the single. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I didn't think he was going to win.
Yeah.
I really didn't. You saw that the 2 days, his iron was bad. Okay. And for the 2 days, okay, Sander is such a good iron player. And Colin also is a good iron player. And I think that's why when he was partnered with Dustin, there was such a good thing because Dustin, he missed and he gets it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's such a good iron player, and sometimes that happens, you know what I mean? And he I think that's the reason why they put him first, because they know that he's good. He's very consistent, you know what I mean? But,
and then you really liked the Rahm versus Scheffler matchup.
Yeah. That Scotty, that was the best. Tonight, that's the best one on the single. When Scotty beat John Rahm.
Yeah.
Amazing. I really thought, I'm number one player. It's the same thing when John Rahm beat Tiger. He was celebrating like he won a championship, in the Ryder Cup in Paris, So this is biggie. Even Dustin Johnson said it's the best when Scotty did that. And I think they the European only took, 3 points?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So you predicted it, 19 points. You said, yes, USA, San Diego guy Colin Morikawa did it. What are your closing thoughts, and who impressed you and who didn't you like? As we look, and what's your next event? What's the next event you're looking forward to?
What do you mean? And
just anything like, do you have any short takes to finish up with, or that was it?
Well, my short take, I'm so happy that they won. I mean, in U.S. soil. That's the best. And Steve Sticker, bright place. He's crying. He's so emotional. I get emotional. You know what I mean? I mean, it's only in the Ryder Cup that I scream and clap again. When somebody miss a shot, I never do that in real competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's the only time you can do it. You know what I mean? I'm very happy for them, and I think really the new generation of Ryder Cup and President Cup is going to be different.
I love it.
Yeah.
What's the next event you're looking forward to?
What's the next event? Actually, really nothing. I want to see. I'm going to watch that long drive that I think what's his name is going to compete.
Yeah.
Could you? What's his name? Yeah. The one Brooks anyway.
Yeah.
Brian. I think he's going to compete against a long drive.
Okay.
I think it's going to be next week. Yes. I want to watch that. I think there's really nothing big because golf is actually over. They're all in Europe. You know what I mean? So we're going to have to wait till January. So now football is on.
Yeah. Well, Mom, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your golf takes. I really appreciate it. You're my entry point to golf. I don't know anything about it, but you know so much about it, and thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you so much.